Has it happened to you that you hold an opinion about something, but when it comes to making a public statement, you say what everybody wants to hear and you keep that opinion to yourself? Has that happened? And have you noticed sometimes you'll find in teams, they come to a decision where everybody seems to be in agreement, but in private, everyone's probably saying, that's the wrong thing to do. Sounds familiar? Hello and welcome to another edition of Chai with Pi. My name is Prakash Iyer, and today I want to talk to you about the Abilene Paradox. Many organizations worry about how they can manage conflict. Truly, they should be more worried about managing agreement. And this goes back to a little story that Professor Jerry Harvey, who used to teach management at the George Washington University, a story that he loved to share. Turns out that Jerry was at his home in Coleman, Texas. It was a July afternoon, hot, and he, his wife, and his father-in-law and his mother-in-law were all hanging around, playing some dominoes, having a lemonade, when suddenly the father-in-law said, "How about we go to Abilene?" The first thought in Jerry's mind was, what a stupid idea. I mean, who wants to drive 53 miles in the hot sun with all that dust just to go to Abilene and have a meal? And that's when his wife looked at her father and said, "Wow, that sounds like a terrific idea. Why don't we all go to Abilene and have a meal there?" And the mother-in-law, who happened to be hearing this conversation, said, "Sure, I've been thinking about it. Come, let's go to Abilene." And Jerry then, seeing how the rest of his family has responded, turns around and says, "Great idea. Come, let's go to Abilene." What follows then is that the family spends like the better part of 4 or 5 hours in a hot, sunny afternoon on a dusty track, sitting in a non-air-conditioned car. And they end up going to Abilene and have a forgettable meal in a hole-in-the-wall restaurant. And then, of course, they get back home, tired and clearly bored. As they all get back home and they are freshening up, Jerry looks at the rest of the family and says, that was a fun afternoon. Great trip, wasn't it?" And the mother-in-law says, "Not quite. Actually, I didn't want to go to Abilene. I just went because all of you wanted to go." And Jerry says, hey, not all of us. It was them. I clearly did not want to go." And his wife says, "Oh, come on. I just didn't want to go. I had so much to do at home. I would have much rather we stayed back and played a little bit more at home and had a good time rather than go out in the sun to Abilene." You get the drift. And then, of course, the poor father-in-law comes in and says, "Oh, I actually just wanted to stay at home in the comfort of our home. But I thought all of you might be getting bored, and I thought it might be a good idea, and you might be wanting to go to Abilene, and I didn't want you to stay back because I didn't want to go." What happened then was 4 people ended up going to Abilene, doing something that no one really wanted, while each of them seemed enthusiastic about the idea. Okay? And as Professor Harvey points out, it's not just his family that went to Abilene. Organizations, companies, teams, businesses are constantly going to Abilene. They are all suppressing their true feelings, hiding what they really want to do, and ending up doing something which they think the other person wants. Dangerous place to go. And maybe something that we all want to be mindful of in our teams, in our lives. Be careful. If you have a view about something, speak up. If you have an opinion, share it. Don't try and please other people. Sometimes we have a view and we feel it's the opposite of what everybody else wants. Chances are there are several other people who have the same opinion and the same fear. So speak up. I think organizations need to make sure that they are not victims of the Abilene Paradox. We need to make sure that our boardrooms, our conference calls, are places where people can speak up, people feel safe in voicing an opinion, and we don't all end up saying what we think the other person wants. And as a result, we all end up taking the organization to a place where none of us really wanted to go. So beware of the Abilene Paradox. And one more thing, as a leader, you need to worry more about agreement rather than conflict. If you find that your team, that your leadership team is quickly getting to consensus, very aligned and very quick to agree with each other, be careful. This might just be a sign of the Abilene Paradox at work. Much better for all of us then to have conflict rather than quick agreement. That's all in this week's edition of Chai with Pi. Until next time, stay safe and of course, enjoy your chai.